Are you looking to get people's attention? Are you looking to become a more effective communicator, conversationalist? Do you want to become hypnotic in the way that you speak? Are you looking to become more seductive, more smooth, right? More enthralling, more exciting, more enthusiastic as a speaker? Well, this video is for you, because regardless of where you fall in that spectrum, you're just looking to become a better public speaker, you're looking to become more effective on social media, this is the video for you. Now, if you guys have noticed for the last couple videos that you've watched, and in my entire YouTube career, I don't jump, skip, I don't edit. I shoot these videos most of the time with no script, and if I ever have any indicator, it's a couple bullet points, and we go 20, 30, 40 minutes without stopping. So to prove to you, right, that I'm an effective communicator, that is the way that I will always make videos. Even though all the jump cutting and cutting frames and all that could potentially get me more views, I want to be for the people who want to become effective and are here to learn, not be just entertained like the masses. Okay? So, you want people hanging on your every word. You want to become a more effective communicator. Okay? Let's start with this thing and let's break it down. Okay? Number one, we need to become conscious of the rhythm of our speech. Are you conscious of the rhythm of your speech? If you pay attention in my videos, there's typically a rhythm. And what I mean by rhythm is, think of a cadence, think of music, right? If you're playing an instrument or you've ever been in band or something like that, think of the flow of the music. Da-na-na-na, da-na-na-na, or da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na, right? There's a rhythm. And depending on the rhythm that you choose, it will determine the effectiveness of said communication and things that you say, because the result and the level of your communication is the response that you get. You could think that you're doing everything right. If you're not eliciting the response that you want with your communication, it is ineffective, right? Because there's three channels when it comes to communication: the origination, the in-between, and then the duplication of that communication. That is a complete communication line, the three pieces: origination, the space in between, then the duplication, the understanding of the communication by the person. Red cat, they duplicate and they, in their mind, confirm red cat. Okay, we have a complete communication chain there, right? That includes the origination, the in-between, and then the comprehension. There's a meme going around, oh, communication is nothing without comprehension. No, comprehension is a part of effective communication. They're not separate, right? So let's get that right. So we're talking about the rhythm. So what are some few things and initial techniques that we can use right now in order to facilitate the creation of some sort of rhythm? Well, the first one is this. The average person, when they speak, there's no rhythm, or there's only one rhythm, because they are imprecise with their words. Meaning, when you listen to the average person talk, you never really hear pauses or breaks in their communication to create the rhythm, because that's what creates the rhythm, is the pauses. Because you can process, and you can change the speed and tempo of your speech, or you can speed up or you can slow down. Okay? What causes this issue for most people? Well, filler words. Well, you know, like, they're uncomfortable with the pauses, and they're unwilling to, and they're untrained in the creation of that rhythm and the breaks in their speech. That makes them extremely ineffective when it comes to communication, because it makes you sound monotone as well. When you keep the same rhythm and tone the whole time and you never change it like this, it becomes very monotone. And that is a big problem when it comes to communication. Many of you, even when I'm not really trying and really going above and beyond, will say that I'm intense or I'm passionate and all this kind of stuff. It's because of the fluctuation, right? It's the rhythm and the fluctuation of my tone. Right? But the first tip I can give you is become much more aware of these words that you're using, right? And think, instead of using filler words, I'm going to pause. Because let me give you an example to illustrate this point, how this is encoded into our DNA as human beings. Power, royalty, authority speaks slower and with pauses and says less. Look at movies, look at books, look at history, right? The person who was always pleading for their life and trying to explain themselves would speak quickly and erratically, right? Oh my God, let me explain. It's not what it looks like. The person controlling the interrogation, the king, would just sit there like this and either give a signal or one word or no or dead or alive or whatever it is, or the thumbs up, the thumbs down from Gladiator. You know what I'm talking about. So if we want to speak ancestrally to people and speak to their DNA, you speak louder, slower, with pauses, and you say less. That indicates on a subconscious level, on a DNA level to people, power, authority. Very few people, unless they're already coined as famous or whatever, right? Because you need to understand, for the majority of people this applies. Can there be nuances here? Sure. Like if I'm a celebrity known by the whole world, okay, I can break the rules. Just like you guys see the billionaires walking around in sweats and not wearing suits and looking like shit. They're billionaires though. They're the top 0.1%, right? Same thing with the speech and all this stuff. Could you be an ineffective communicator and the billionaire or the super celebrity? Sure. But again, why would we look at that exception to the rule? We need to look at what applies to 99.9% of people, which is what I'm talking about. And the reason I'm bringing that up is so we don't get this exception to the rule confused, right? The exception to the rule does not change the rule. It's just the exception, the 0.1% or whatever it is, okay? So the breaks and not using the filler words are number one when it comes to this. Now, there's another one that I added in there that I want to sprinkle in and remind you and really enhance this and emphasize this point. It's the volume. Many of you, especially the men watching this, your volume is too low. Low volume equals lack of confidence and equals weak, because a lot of the things that we do indicate to people on a subconscious level where our level of status is and where we fall into the social hierarchy. Because moving forward, for you to be effective, to be seen and deemed as higher value, besides making money and all that, is your social savviness and your social prowess. This is key, right? Especially for the men, but for everybody, but especially the men, right? If you're successful and you're a very effective communicator, you have the whole package. If you're lacking in the communication and the social skills, the social dynamics, the social awareness, you will suffer, and you'll always be a couple tiers below, and potentially somebody who's not as successful as you can one-up you if they have better social skills and social status and social awareness and social savvy, right? Because they can conduct themselves with the world and in the environment in a way that you can't, right? So the volume has to go up. We've already talked about the breaks and the rhythm. We've talked about removing the filler words. We're talking about the volume. Now you need to find what that volume is, because for most people it's too low. For some people it's too high. We got to find that effective, right? If you, as an example, as a marker, if people are always leaning in or saying what and they can't hear you, it's way too low. If you're noticing that when you speak, people kind of go back or they give you space, it means you're too loud. Those are some subconscious indicators, right? Or if a lot of people say you're obnoxious, right? If you get a lot of bad comments in regards to your speech, like obnoxious, too aggressive or whatever, like a lot, not just a few haters, I'm talking about a lot, then it typically means your volume is a little bit too loud, right? Those are just some general indicators there, okay? So what's this third piece now? Well, everything that we need to process in regards to communication needs to be off how people view it and respond to it on a subconscious primal DNA level, because that's what communication is. You've seen the old statistic. It's 7% words, your communication, 65% body language, and then 28% or 27% tonality, right? Meaning the vast majority, 2/3 of what people process of our communication is our physiology, the subconscious stuff, and not what's being said. Right? And let that sink in for a second, because as obvious as that statistic is, people don't really abide by that. So let's say you go door to door, right? I'm making this video by one of my big front windows in the front door, and somebody comes knocking on my door. When they look at me before they open the door, or right as they open the door, 2/3 of what I'm communicating has already happened before opening my mouth, by them just looking at me. So if you want to be a more effective communicator, how do you win in that? Because that's 2/3 of the game, and nobody talks about it. How you smell, how you dress, your facial expression. Are you smiling? Are you not? Are you making eye contact? Are you carrying yourself with confidence? Are you relaxed in your musculature? Or are you tense? Because that alone can win you or lose you the interaction. Tension shows discomfort, aggressiveness, potential threat. Because when you're tense, you're not relaxed. If you're a non-threat, you're relaxed. This is why demonstrating relaxation in a social environment is one of the most high status things you can do. Why? When everyone else is uncomfortable, you're comfortable. Where everyone else suffers, you're not. How can we win that? How about the way that you dress? I know these colors and these patterns and all these things that I wear create a particular effect on people, which is why I do it. Same thing with the video background or this or that. All that stuff creates a certain effect. I know how people respond subconsciously. So part of this is what you do and demonstrate. The other piece, which many of you really need to do a deep dive on and get coaching and training and help on, is the theory and understanding of it. How well are you versed in this stuff? Men, women, what attracts people, what repels them? The different types of tonalities, the different types of personality types, how people respond to things, spatial awareness, body language, all these things. It's cool to know some surface level stuff watching YouTube and podcasts. That's great. But what have you done beyond that in regards to this understanding and application? Because that will dictate this a lot. Because the second piece to this now is to take these things and apply them. The fourth element I'm going to give you now as we continue is to go out there and interact with as many people as possible. Because if you watch me, whether you're a 9-to-5er, an entrepreneur, non-entrepreneur, this skill set and this understanding is vital for you and your ability to thrive and succeed in life and just have a happy social life. When you can understand these things and you know how to go out there and respond and how to act and what to do, the life becomes a playground for you. Because from a social standpoint, you will dominate where other people suffer. Look at the world right now suffering from a mental standpoint, mental health. A lot of it is our lack of social awareness and our lack of social skills. There's more introverts and all this stuff than ever. I don't believe in any of that stuff personally. I think it's a box that people put themselves in. And I can link a video here for you to watch that video because I want to help people with this, not attack them. I want to help them. That's a self-induced kind of hysteria. Because the social aspect of it, I don't care what you think your personality is or how you think you were born and all that. You can change it. You can build social skills and then be able to be a chameleon and do whatever the hell you want. Then if you choose to be silent, you can, but you're not operating from scarcity. Because if you say, oh, I like being quiet and all that, but you don't have the ability to talk to people, you can't really say that. If you have the ability to thrive socially and then you choose to be the monk or meditate or be alone and have some solitude, that's different. You have the option and you're exercising an option. You can only exercise options if you have the option. Get that, right? And a lot of people suffer. Why? Because at the fundamental level, when it comes to this communication thing, they say, hey, I want to express myself in ABC fashion. However, I'm unable to. My reality isn't matching how I want to do this thing internally. There's a mismatch there. It's not lining up. You suffer mentally. Rewind that and watch it again. That is a big reason that people suffer. What they want, right, on the outside, okay, and the results that they're getting compared to how they view this thing happening internally, there's a disconnect there. They lack that freedom and awareness and ability, and that's why they suffer when it comes to this game. That's key, what I just said the last minute. Watch that again, write it down, and then make that your goal. And where you're lacking, you fix it. So we're 13 minutes into this thing, and we've already explored this a little bit. I've given you some practical applications, but you need to understand and prioritize this thing, especially for those of you who watch me who are in real estate and sales. This is why what I do is so unique and special, and you need to join my coaching and courses and all the stuff that I do, because I come at this from an angle and a level of expertise that you're not going to find anywhere else. Skills pay the bills for relationships, for networking, for business, for everything. Imagine if you were an effective communicator, a more effective communicator, a highly effective communicator, how your relationship would be with your spouse, with your children, with your family, your outlook on life, your ability to go out there and connect with people and engage and create and capture opportunities. It's unparalleled. If you follow me and you're a salesperson, you know that's directly correlated with your income. If you're great at going and connecting and talking to people and handling objections and all that basic stuff because you're a very high level communicator, what's going to stop you from making money regardless of what's happening in the economy and the market? It makes you independent of external disruptors and market factors. Get this. Drill it in your head. That's why this is so key. All right? But let's continue. What are some other things that we can do that we need to recognize, but also do to improve our communication? Okay, here's the next one. All of you need to join an organization that's called Toastmasters. Toast like bread, or toasting like, hey, we're going to do a toast. Toastmasters. It's cheap. It's a great place. It's a public speaking forum where many of you can go and you can start working on your public speaking and speaking skills in general, right? Normally, they'll meet once a week. I'm speaking to you from the perspective of me having done it 2 years without stopping, year and a half, 2 years, about 10 or 11 years ago. They met once a week, the chapter, and they would do 2 hours. 1 hour was the beginning. The second hour was the people who got selected the week before to do formal speeches. Table topics and then formal speeches. This organization, I don't think will cost you more than 50 or 100 bucks a year. And it's specifically dedicated to working on your communication skills and public speaking skills. They will critique you, they will give you positive feedback and things that you need to work on. If you're serious about building your communication, and after watching this video, you don't sign up for Toastmasters immediately, stop following me, stop wasting your time, and stop running your mouth, because you're not looking to get better. That's a resource that anybody can take advantage of, right? Other things that you need to do. Study, read books, do courses on neuro-linguistic programming, right? Also, hypnosis, get your hypnotherapy certification, okay? Those are 2 things that I've done. Those are 2 things that I've taken to another. I'm like master practitioner, master hypnotist, all that stuff. I teach that deep dive in my coaching, but even if you just keep it to yourself and you never join my stuff, you need to learn those subjects. Why? It'll give you some extremely valuable insight on the mind, communication, the connection between them. It will teach you more about yourself. It will give you the tools that you need to develop yourself and change yourself at the identity, values, and belief levels, at the core of what your soul is as a human being and what composes that outwardly expression to the world. It will help you fix that, change it to your liking. And when you can do that and you can influence yourself and change yourself, it will be easy to influence and change other people because you first mastered yourself, my friend. And that's what you need to study. Talked about it on the men and women video. You need to also study evolutionary psychology because that will give you insight on the DNA level, how we respond to things socially and what attracts us and repels us as men, women, and as human beings in general, right? Also, the social dynamics aspect you have to develop. You got to get out there and socialize. You got to get out there at least a couple days a week, interact with people in public, bars, lounges, at the mall, right, on the street, at the supermarket. Socialize with people and be more active about that because it's going to make you more socially aware and attuned to when people are receptive, when they're not receptive, what's working, what's not working. But unless you exercise that muscle, it will atrophy and you will lose it. And many of you don't socialize. You DM on social media, you do dating apps. Get off that shit and start actually going out and socializing with people to develop your communication skills, okay? Because later on, something that's tied to this is being a storyteller. If you want to be a hypnotic, seductive, just people hanging on your every word, and you want to just be this communicator that it's literally palpable, like people can feel and taste and touch and just be enthralled by your communication, work on your storytelling ability, right? If you become a great and effective storyteller, your ability out there and your results will be unparalleled. Why? Well, when you look at it from an ancestral standpoint, we pass down knowledge and we pass down everything and the teachings of our ancestors and the people before them through storytelling around the campfire. So we're primed to learn and really absorb information through storytelling format. This is why I believe as a teacher I'm so much more effective too, is I do the classical way of teaching, but I involve a lot of storytelling and other techniques that allow you to learn that same subject that maybe you couldn't get a grasp on. I can simplify it and give it to you in a way that you will absorb finally, right? But the storytelling aspect is a big one. It's a big one. Think about when you go out, right? Think about the last time you watched a movie, right? And you were just totally stuck on it and like, oh my God, and everything else just vanished and it was you that moment and you were just so into it. It's because of the story that they're telling in the movie or the story that the person was telling in person. Like suddenly the environment blanks out and you're just in the moment, you're experiencing it, you're going through the emotions. That is a very cool experience, wouldn't you agree? But we need to become more effective storytellers, right? Now, many of you are great at telling stories in a negative way or talking down to yourself or criticizing yourself, but you can't do it the other way because you lack practice. This is why Toastmasters and going out and doing these things and practicing with your friends is one of the most important things that you can do. I know that I can grip people socially because of my ability to tell stories, right? You can literally speak about absolutely nothing, yet if you deliver it right and you give it this storytelling mode and shell, people will pay attention. People will watch. People will be intrigued. They'll be fascinated. And again, they'll be hanging on your every word. They'll be dying to hear the next thing that comes out of your mouth. Just like right now. If you've been watching this, it's been almost 20 minutes. Did it feel like 20 minutes? I don't think so. I've done speeches that are 2, 3, 4 hours and people are just asking for more. And they were sitting in one spot focused for 2, 3, 4 hours. That is not normal. It takes a skill set to draw that out of people and cause that effect. Because that's this next point when it comes to speaking. We are causing an effect. Your communication isn't wasted. We don't just speak to speak. We speak to cause an effect on the world, to cause an effect on our reality and create something. I want to create a moment. I want to inspire emotions in you. Cause, when I speak from cause, I create the effect. That is the language of creation. That is the language of the universe. Cause, cause, cause point, cause. I will be the effect when I want to be a student and when I choose to, but the vast majority of the time I'm coming from cause. I create my circumstances, right? I create the moment. I inspire people for action. I find the customer. I do this. Cause. Most of you are living effect. And this is why you're an ineffective communicator and life isn't good in general. You're effect. You're never causing. There needs to be a flow there, right? Just like this tattoo right here, the infinity. Cause. Now, when you speak from cause, you're confident, you're certain, you're grounded, your feet are in concrete. You cannot be shaken, you cannot be broken. And people will listen. There'll be a power and an enthusiasm and energy to your speech. If you think cause, I'm going to speak to cause and effect. I'm going to make them laugh. I'm going to have them have a good experience. I'm going to influence and persuade this customer in a good way for them to get what they want. Cause. Internally, you need to be a titan when you speak and tower above everybody else. Not from an egotistical standpoint, from a power and certainty standpoint. That way when I speak, you feel the words that I'm saying. It punches you in the gut. And you can't help but listen. And pay attention and learn and have the desire to want to replicate this. Because many of you, one of the number one things that you admire in me and you want to acquire from me is this ability to speak this way. Because you know it would absolutely change your life. It would change your self-talk, your confidence, your self-esteem, your results, your business, your relationships, your everything. And finally, it's starting to dawn on you a little bit. That's why many of you this year, this moment, are finally going to take this step and do something about it, whether it's for your own personal education, learning from me, or whatever it's going to take for you to improve your communication. Because damn it, aren't you tired of it? Aren't you sick of when you speak, people don't listen? Aren't you tired of not getting what you want in the world? Aren't you tired of the people that you want attention from not paying attention to you and acting as if you don't exist? Aren't you sick of always coming up short and being in second place? Aren't you tired of having that disconnect where the reality that you want to live versus what you internally envision is not happening? Aren't you tired of it? Yes, I know you are. And that's why it's time to do something about it. This power is within you. Cause and effect. You can do it. It is possible for anybody who believes. Because that's this last piece. You need to believe that eventually, if you're not now, you can be this communicator, that you can speak to the masses and they will listen, that you can have 1,000, 5,000, 10,000 people watching or more, hanging on your every word, wanting to hear from you, wanting to learn from you, wanting to speak with you, wanting to experience you, because that's what you're giving the world, you. This is my genuine expression. That's why I know if I want attention online, I know exactly what I need to do. If I speak, people will listen. And this is why I will never stop communicating and creating these videos, because there's a value here. I can do something that other people can't. And that's why people will always watch and tune in. And that's why I'll always have a job and employment and people working. I have 200 people on my real estate team now. And I started going nationwide years ago. How many people do you know in the real estate game who are working with developers and have a team with hundreds of people on it that's nationwide that they created by themselves? I'll wait. Right? I don't talk about my accolades all the time, right? Because to me, it doesn't matter. People don't really care. But I've sold hundreds of millions of real estate. I'm working with a developer now, right? And those deals are just tremendous, and that relationship is going to go into the eons for the future. I've shared the stage with virtually every single participant of $1 Million Listing, the show, right, from Bravo TV, except for like 1 or 2 of the members. I've spoken with them nationally, internationally. I've done over 1,000 speeches. I have thousands of people in my coaching program. I've sold tens of thousands of courses. Right? My podcast has gotten millions of downloads, Supreme Being, right? Again, I'm just rifling this stuff off, but all of that is a result of my dedication to communication and my continuous quest to master it. That's it. Everything else stemmed from that. All the personal development, the social skills, all that. Because I said, I want to be a student of communication. I want to master this thing. Now, will I ever master it? I don't know. But I'm on that path every single day with hunger, with determination, with discipline, with focus. Because I understand how important this thing is. We are not in the era of information anymore. We have entered the era of communication. The top communicators on this planet will win. And it's up to you to become one of them, or you will be left behind. Okay? Appreciate you guys tuning in. We're going to end it here. I will likely do a part 2. Anybody, right, who wants help, I do one-on-one consultations via Zoom on my website now. It's available. I do courses. I do coaching. Hit me up. All the links will be in the description. Leave me a comment. If this is the type of content that you like, leave a like, share it with your friends, share it on your socials, and we'll see you on the next one. All right? Peace.